Alright, so I was in the blue Mach 1 driving around in the hot months, and the air conditioning doesn't work on the blue Mach 1. The level keeps draining. On these cars, usually underneath the air compressor, there's two O-rings, and that's usually where it leaks out of, from what I've been told. But anyway, the blue Mach 1, the air conditioning doesn't work very well, like it doesn't have enough pressure in there. And I was driving through town in the hot months, and I noticed that the cooling fan was not on. And that concerned me because I wanted to make sure that the car wasn't going to overheat. Now, the car wasn't running hot or anything, but I had been driving around for a good amount of time, and I stopped in a parking lot and opened the hood, and the electric fan was just sitting there. It wasn't running. And so I was concerned that I had a problem with the fan or the fuse or something like that. And I had always known, and I had done this before, that if you turn the air conditioning on, you will have the fan will kick on, and that's the way it's supposed to work. And I had somebody in one of my last videos ask me about this, and he had mentioned that, you know, if you turn the fan on, or if you turn on the air conditioning, it should turn on the car's fan. The only problem with that, testing it that way, is that's not entirely accurate. It doesn't always do that. In this case, if the air conditioning freon level is low, then it's not going to allow the air conditioning to turn on, which will not allow the fan to turn on. And I've also heard that if it's really cold outside and you try to run the air conditioning, it won't work because it's at a certain temperature. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but I went ahead and did a test because I know that the air conditioning on this car, when I bought it, was working, and I assumed that the previous owner just topped off the freon level so it would work. And but it didn't work this summer. And the yellow Mach 1 and the orange Cobra, theirs works just fine. So what I did was, right now, it's kind of cold today and it's raining and everything, but I went ahead and did a test on both these cars together. The one where the air conditioning I know is low or not working, and the yellow one where it is. I started the yellow one, turned on the air conditioning, and immediately the AC clutch kicked on, the fan turned on, just like it should. On this one, it was the opposite. I turned on the air conditioning and nothing happened. No AC clutch and no fan. If you look, for those of you who aren't familiar with an AC clutch, it's right there. Okay, it looks like, it has like these funny looking, it's the pulley, there it is. The pulley with those little things on, those circles on the front of it. And that clutch will, like a magnet, when you turn it on, it will engage, and then that whole face will be spinning with the pulley. And so what I did was I researched it and found out that there is a low pressure and a high pressure switch in the air conditioning system, and you can jump those with a wire to test to see if it works. Of course, the car needs to be running and the air conditioning needs to be on, which it was when I did this. And this here is the connector. It goes on this, here's the AC canister. There's a plug on the top here, and this is where it is. So if you look at this up close, there are, you see that, there you go, you can see the silver circles on the top and the bottom right. Those are the two wire connections you want to jump. So you put the wire in, each end of the wire in there, and when the car is running and you have that on, you jump a wire, you connect the two ends, and what that does is it overrides the high pressure switch. It says everything's okay. And when I did that, sure enough, the AC compressor kicked on and the cooling fan kicked on. And like I said, I had no cooling fan with the car running and the AC on right before I did that. As soon as I jumped that switch, it activated. So that's just a little lesson to learn. You can't always turn the AC on to see if your cooling fan works. It doesn't always work because the clutch won't engage if the freon level is low. So right here I'm jumping the switch. I have a wire that is going to go from one end of the plug to the other on the metal leads that I just showed you. And listen to the engine volume change when the AC compressor kicks on here. You can hear the idle change.
There, hear that? That's jumped. With the air conditioning on in the car.
So here's a close-up of what the switch looks like, the plug, when you have the wires jumped. This would be the top of the switch, plugs in this way, right there. And that's how you jump the wires. You go from one end to the other kitty corner like that. And that's going to complete the circuit. So now that that's done, I will just plug this back in. We already know what the problem is. It's just low, that's the low pressure switch. It will not let it run on low pressure or it will burn the pump up. That's an air compressor safety thing. The air compressor runs on Freon and it helps cool the pump and everything, and the oil won't be circulating if it has low pressure. And so to keep the pump or the compressor from burning itself up, there's a switch that will not allow it to run on low pressure.